Hello, Julian.
Hello, Mike.
How are you today?
I'm fine. Yeah, how are you?
Excellent. I'm good, thank you. A little tired. Been doing lots and lots of stuff. All things happening left, right, and centre, and
With the business or with life generally, or
business, life.
good, good. Business is going well.
Business is going much better than it was early in COVID. Yes, thank you very much.
Good.
So, big thank you to all my customers out there. We're ticking over. So
Good.
that's very nice. So, hi, I'm Mike Brampton.
And my name is Julian Ho.
Welcome to Veterinary Ramblings. What are we saying good evening to?
Well, we're saying good evening to the fifth, sixth, or seventh season. I've lost track.
Have another drink, Julian.
I will do.
Yeah, it's becoming quite a habit, this, isn't it?
Do you know, I look forward to my Wednesday evenings, sitting down having a quiet drink. Just the two of us and a guest. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's quite relaxing, and we've had some very interesting guests, of course, through the various series. And tonight's guest is no different.
Well, there's just one difference. And I guess the only difference is that with all the other guests, we've had absolutely no problem saying their surname.
Yes. Yes.
I think we need to take a good old run up to this one, don't we?
Well, we do, but let's not allow that to put us off, because I'm actually really looking forward to seeing tonight's guest. I haven't seen her for quite a while, and so it's nice to be able to catch up in such informal fashions. And she's got quite a story to tell.
So I hear. I've not met her. You've told me about her, but I've not met her personally.
Well, Sif, and I'm going to hesitate from mentioning her surname. I think I sent it to you on a message. Can you?
Yes. Now I went on to Google Translate because it's an Icelandic name.
It is indeed.
So I got it as Traustadóttir.
I think that's. We'll ask Sif about that, shall we?
Let's do that.
Let's get her in, because she's a vet who started life. I think she studied biology first. Was her first degree.
Yes, that was in Iceland, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then she went to, I think, Denmark, where she did her veterinary studies. Spent a little time in America at Davis.
Yeah, while she was studying.
While she was studying, right, okay. She then worked in Iceland as a vet, which is when I met her, quite a few years ago. And
when you were doing one of your photo sources?
I was indeed, and she has moved lock, stock and barrel to live in a small village, medieval hilltop village just north of Rome, in Italy.
Why would you go from Iceland to Italy?
Well, let's get her in then. Let's get Sif in, and let's ask Sif why on earth she would move from Iceland to Italy.
Oh my God. Okay, Mike, it's raining here. Is it raining where you are?
Yeah, it's raining where I am as well.
Hey guys.
Hi, Sif.
I was just catching some more limoncello.
Okay. Right. I was just Julian and I were just wondering why you would give up Iceland for Italy, but I think
to move to a suburb of Italy.
Yeah.
Yes.
A suburb of Rome, do you mean?
Of Rome, suburb of Rome, yes.
Well, it kind of is the suburb of Italy as well.
But I see the view behind you. It's not terribly shoddy, is it?
No, this is my garden actually. So this is where I have
all of it, as far as we can see.
Wow. God. Wow, you can't see your fence down there. You can't see your garden fence at the back there. That's a pretty big garden you've got there.
It's a huge garden.
Yeah. I've got the view of like the whole valley here and the mountain on the other side. It's really beautiful. And my garden is facing south. In my village, there's a huge debate always about which side is better, the sunny side, like the south side,
right,
or the north side, that's the shaded side.
Okay.
So there's like a huge debate always, and people do not disagree. But of course, the sunny side is better.
Well, the sunny side is much better. Yeah, and of course we all know now that the sunny side is better against coronavirus because it'll produce more
Yes,
vitamin
for
D in your
example.
body.
Yes.
Excellent. So what do the people on the north side say though?
Well, they say like the south side is too hot in the summer. Like there's too much. There's not enough shade, and everybody's like just boiling in the sun. And I'm like, but we live in Italy because of the sun. Like that's why we're
Sure.
here.
So I'm going to share my screen briefly here and show you just a few photographs. So you gave up views like this.
Yeah, this is my mountain, actually, in this picture.
Okay.
This mountain is called Kirkjufell.
Yep.
Loosely translated as Church Mountain. It's very photogenic because it's like stands alone. Like there's no other mountains like in the background. Or it kind of depends on the angle, but you can get the angle like this where the Atlantic Ocean is in the background.
Yep.
And there's the waterfalls, the two waterfalls also.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you can see the fjord there. And actually, I call it my mountain because it's my mother comes from the village that's just next to this mountain.
Wow.
Grundarfjörður.
I have to say it's been a place I've visited a number of times, going to take photographs, and it never ceases to amaze me. I've seen this covered in meters of snow, and I've had to wade waist deep in to get the angle on this particular shot. And you're right; it's very photogenic, isn't it? It's it was so photogenic it was used in Game of Thrones as well.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was known as the Shark Tooth Mountain. So tell us, Sif. I mean, your first degree was in biology, was it not?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you did that in Iceland?
In Iceland, University of Iceland, and
Right.
then I applied and got in to veterinary medicine in Copenhagen.
Okay. So is that a normal path for Icelandic vets to train and learn in Denmark?
Yes, we don't have a vet school in Iceland.
Right.
So it's very common. Most Icelandic vets have done their training in Denmark or Norway, Sweden a couple, and also Germany. Some in the UK, not so much though, because it's super expensive.
Yeah,
it's very, very expensive.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because Iceland is not member of the EU.
Right.
So we have to pay double tuition.
Right. It's just because probably by the time this show is aired, the UK probably won't be a member of the EU either.
Yeah, so maybe it'll get easier now for Icelanders to study in the UK. Who knows?
But actually, talking of differences between various European countries, I heard a great definition the other day of heaven and of hell. You heard about this?
No, go on.
So in heaven, the police are British, the cooks are French, the engineers are German, the lovers are Italian, and is run by the Swiss. In hell, the police are German, the cooks are British, the engineers are Italian, the lovers are Swiss, and it's all run by the French.
Actually, on behalf of Ferrari, Motomarini, Benelli, Colnago, I have to disagree with you on the Italian engineering perspective.
Yes, I was going to say the same. Like, actually, Italians are great engineers.
Yeah. So coming back, Sif, I mean, tell me again. So you graduated in Denmark, and you then went back to Iceland to work as a vet, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Right. How long did that last?
It did last a few years. Like I was planning to stay longer in Denmark actually in the beginning, but then I had a family. My husband really wanted to move back to Iceland. He's still there. and our son was going to school, so we thought, well, maybe we should have him go to school in Iceland and be close to his grandparents. And so we moved back, and I worked in a clinic, a small animal clinic, and then I started my own clinic, like with two other vets, like a hospital.
Well, that was where I first met you, wasn't it?
Yes.
In Reykjavik.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to remember today. I don't even remember, like, who introduced us, or did you just like knock on the door and say?
No, it was introduced.
So can I say the thing about Mike is no one ever remembers how they met Mike. And we believe that's because the drugs last
him
so
forever.
long. That's how it is. Sorry, do carry on, Mike.
No, I think we were actually introduced by Neil Smith.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So Neil introduced us. I can't remember why or how.
I think it's because you were coming to Iceland to do photo shoots.
Something like that. I can't remember exactly. And your name came up, and I contacted you, and then came and knocked on the door and said,
Yes.
"Hello,
Hello.
show me your clinic."
So what's small animal practice like in Iceland? Was it small animal? Was it large? Was it mixed? Sorry,
Yeah, it was small animal. We did have like we did sometimes go out for like horse visits or sheep. We had I remember we did a sheep cesarean. Sometimes somebody like brought in sheep or chickens or something, but mostly it was small animals like pets.
Right. And how many vets are there in Iceland?
I think the total number is just over 100. When I was president, it was 100.
Right. You were president of the Icelandic Veterinary Association, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So did you carry a majority of votes? You know, was it that 99 people voted for you, or was there a bit of a tussle there to
No. No, it was not a Russian vote. but I did get like a good majority, so I was happy.
Good.
Well, everyone is up for vote. I was the first female and also the youngest person ever to be the president, so I guess some of the older generation felt like I wasn't really ready. Maybe they still feel that. I don't know.
Fair enough. So you sold up and you left Iceland. Now I've got vague, you'll have to correct me on this one, Sif, because I've got vague memories of you putting everything into a van and sort of traveling through Europe.
Yeah, so the original idea was to take like a 6-month sabbatical because I was feeling like really stressed out, and like a lot of us, I think, in practice, starting to feel like, getting...
Never happened.
Never, no.
You
maybe I'm the only one who has ever worked in small animal practice.
I don't get stressed, okay? Practice is not stressful.
I'm sorry, you don't get stressed, Julian. No, and breathe with me. Breathe. You look as if you're going to blow a gasket, and breathe.
Yeah, so I decided to take like a 6-month sabbatical and get a campervan and drive around Europe for a few months in a campervan. And I thought like this is gonna help me to like relax, and I'm gonna be like just like gonna knit and drink prosecco and like talk to people like around Europe. And actually, I visited a lot of colleagues all over because as the president of the Veterinary Association, I got to meet a lot of people. I was our representative at the FV, the Federation of Veterinarians in Europe. So I went to congresses there, and I met some lovely colleagues all over Europe. Mm-hmm. So I did like Mike. I just knocked on their door. Hello, I'm here. Can I camp in your driveway?
Sure.
And then I was like, I asked everyone, because I was thinking like, I wonder what it's like to like live in, like I'd already lived in Denmark, but like I've been to visit these other countries and thought, I wonder what it's like to live here. Like I should like ask people like, what's it like to live in this country, like where you live, like the Netherlands, or like I went all over. I think I went to 18 countries.
Wow.
It was just me and my dog, the co-driver. It's really, really good actually to have a canine co-driver, because every time I made a wrong turn, I could always be like, you told me to turn left, but we should have turned right. And now the street is so narrow that the car is stuck between these two houses.
Yeah, I've got you pictured driving around Europe now, and you.
Yeah, so now I'm driving around Europe in this camper van with my dog, visiting all the vets that I know everywhere in Europe. Some of them were happy to see me. And then I asked them, all of them, like, what's it like to live here in this country where you live? And it's really funny, like they all had the same answer. It doesn't matter if you live in Denmark or the Netherlands or Scotland or Spain or Italy. They all had the same answer. We pay too much taxes, and our politicians are corrupt.
Okay.
So then, like when I was like, it was starting to get to the fall, and I was thinking about this, like, why is everyone saying like these things? And it was like starting to get time to where I was supposed to go back. And then I messaged my my partners, and I said, I'm sorry guys, I can't come back yet. It's like it's gonna be like, it's the fall now. It's gonna be so depressing in Iceland, too cold. Like I have to stay until the spring, I think.
So and how did that go down?
Well, that's when I sold my share in the clinic. And then I thought about this for a while, and then I said, like, if you're going to live in a country where you have to pay too much taxes and you have corrupt politicians, you might as well live in a country that has like nice wine for a great price, sunshine, good food, like friendly people. So I just turned around and drove back to Italy and parked my car there.
Wow.
So were you actually on your way back then?
Yeah, I think I was in Scotland actually. And it was starting to get, it was like September, it was starting to get cooler. And I was like, no, I have to go south. Like I have to go south. This is not gonna work for me.
Right.
You didn't want to stay in Scotland because the view behind you, I mean, that could be, no, you're right. No, it's not nice.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, so I drove to Italy. I stayed, first I stayed, I did some house sitting. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so first I stayed with a cat lady in the north of Italy she's English, really, really nice lady with a lot of cats. So I helped her take care of the cats. And she has like this cat rescue in the north of Italy, in Piemonte. It was really nice. I stayed there for 3 months, but for me, I was like, it's still too cold here.
Yeah.
So then I went to Umbria and I stayed there for 5 months. Umbria was a little bit warmer, but still too cold for me.
Nice truffles.
Nice truffles. I went truffle hunting. Yes. And I gave some dog training tips to the truffle man, because he needed help with one of his truffle dogs didn't want to eat the truffles. She didn't want to like find the truffles. It was
right.
So we came up with a plan for that. And then I met an Icelandic opera singer at the movie theater in Umbria.
Right.
She lives in Umbria, so we became very good friends, and I stayed with her after my house sitting career ended. And then I was browsing online, thinking like, what shall I do next? Like, I can't stay like on my friend's couch forever. Like, I'm gonna have to do something. So I saw this house for sale on some expat mailing list. So I told my friend, let's go on a road trip. We can go like together on a road trip. This house is like near Rome. It's only like a couple of hours drive. We can like go in the camper van and have like a nice day out. Go like in the late morning, get there, have lunch somewhere on the way, and enjoy the countryside on the way back. So we decided to do this. We took a little trip. And then as we got closer to the village, and the roads here are like really narrow and windy, like in Yorkshire.
But oh, so unlike Yorkshire in other ways.
for the English viewers, so they can like picture it in their minds.
Yeah.
So there's windy roads, and there's lots of trees.
Those viewers in Yorkshire are probably thinking, "What? So we got olive trees out back, have we?" I've already seen it. Tear it down each leg of a trouser. No bloody Yorkshire olive trees around here, no.
Yeah. So then when the trees cleared and I saw the village, I was like, "Oh my God, this is like a fairy tale village, like it's like a hilltop medieval village with a historical center that's surrounded by a wall, which is probably from the 12th century.
Wow.
Well, the inner wall is from the 12th century. Then there was a population boom in the 15th century. So they expanded. So my house is on the outer wall, which is from the 15th century. So my house is probably around 500 years old. I saw this house and I was like, oh my God, this is perfect for me. It's a little bit bigger than the camper van, not much, but a little bit. And this lovely garden outside, which adds like a whole new house because I can use the garden a lot.
Yeah.
And just perfect for me and this little dog. So I ended up making an offer and buying the house.
Wow, wonderful. And how many people are there in your village?
It's just shy of 1,000. So it's the same as my mother's village, Grundarfjörður in Iceland. 1,000 people.
So what's happened to the camper van then?
So I actually ended up selling the camper van.
Right.
It was driven back to Germany. Actually, my dad and I bought the camper van together.
Right.
So my dad used it after, like we used it for, we took a trip together at the beginning. And then when I finished my trip, he came over and picked up the camper van and drove it around Europe.
Wow.
And then back to Germany and sold it. So.
Oh, amazing. Because you're about to get a camper van, aren't you, Mike?
I am, yes. Yeah. In actual fact, I am now the proud owner of an ex-Morrison's refrigerated van.
No,
congratulations!
Are you going to keep your fingers up?
Refrigerated.
Yeah, we got it this afternoon. Well, the final deal is going to be done at the weekend, but yeah, so it's a refrigerated van.
Oh, so like you're gonna come and visit me in Italy, and you have the refrigeration just to like remind you of home, like when you go to bed at night.
Yeah, I'm the odd one out. This is a bit like Have I Got News for You, isn't it? Who's the odd one out? Well, it's me, because I haven't got a camper van. I almost bought one once, but as I was test driving it, it caught fire on the roundabout. And I only just managed to get out. The owner of the camper van, the guy who's trying to sell it, had already kicked the door open and was running down the motorway as the A27. And suddenly the police turned up. You know, there I was in the middle of this roundabout, stuck with flames coming out of the camper van. And they said, "Is your vehicle, sir?" I said, "Reasonable assumption, but no, in this case it's not. I'm taking it for a test drive." He said, "Well, I don't think it's worked, has it?" And I said, "No, it hasn't really." Do you have any idea where the registered owner is? I said, "Well, he was letting it down the road a moment ago. I don't know why." I said, "Well, we can tell you why. Because it hasn't got an MOT, it's not insured, and it may well be stolen." So, so I spent the next 4 hours down the police station answering questions.
Escape by the skin of your teeth.
Yes. Well, fortunately, because I was able to say I know exactly where this guy was, and my car is at his house, he wasn't. He didn't make the best escape.
So you got a lift back to your car, did you?
I lived back to my car. They rang the doorbell. He answered. They said, "Interesting story here. So we believe you're selling a camper." No. No. You're not selling a camper van. No. Well, this man says that he has driven a camper van of yours from this address. Never seen him before in my life. And at that stage, I said, "Sorry, I left my coat in your in your porch. Can I go get it?" And he shot me daggers. So I have not got a camper van yet, but I'm looking into it again. 20 years on, I think maybe now's the time to have a second go.
Oh, when we finally finish building ours, we'll let you have a look at it.
Yeah, do.
I definitely recommend it. I would love to have a camper van again.
So it just struck me, and my mind works in mysterious ways that I'm in no way able to understand. But when you said stolen, you said it in a sort of stolen way, and I started thinking of food, because of course Stollen is a German Christmas cake, isn't it, with marzipan inside? And I suddenly thought, actually, the food you're used to in Iceland and the food you're used to in Italy are almost diametrically opposed, aren't they?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
I really, one of my pastimes here in Italy is to horrify Italians with stories and pictures of Icelandic food. It's a great hobby of mine.
So talk us through some Icelandic national meals.
Yeah, so we're heading into the autumn now, and we have a winter festival in February called Þorrablót.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we indulge in eating our traditional foods that actually nobody eats at other. Most people don't even eat it like at other times of year. It's like
This isn't the fermented fish, is it?
Fermented shark.
Oh, fermented shark. Well, this fermented fish is like a Christmas tradition.
Mm-hmm.
On the 23rd of December, the night before Christmas, what we call the night before Christmas. That's where we eat the fermented fish, where people have to you have to cook it outside because the smell is so strong. If you live in like a building with apartments, especially if there's like non-Icelandic people living in the building, you'll be kicked out if you try to cook this like inside your apartment because it smells for days afterwards. Yeah, so this kind of, we eat fermented shark, whale blubber, all kinds of.
I know someone, I've not eaten whale blubber myself, but a friend of mine has, and he reckoned it was delicious. It's quite salted, isn't it?
Some people like it. I'm not one of those people, but
Mike's shaking his head. He doesn't.
No, he's tried it probably. What about? Did you try the ram's testicles?
Ram's testicles. Yeah, I've eaten most or tried most of the dishes in Iceland, purely out of inquisitiveness, to be honest with you.
Most foods are delicious if we don't think about them. And the only one I disagree with that comment is durian fruit. Have you ever tried durian fruit?
Have you had durian fruit?
No.
I had durian fruit. Sylvia and I went to Malaysia for our honeymoon, and everyone, all the taxi drivers, all the waiters would say, I had durian fruit. You must try it. Smell like hell, taste like heaven. So we thought, okay, we'll give it a go. And it does. You're not allowed to take a durian fruit into the hotels because they smell so bad. They smell of vomit. And we thought one day, last day actually on Malaysia, there were some ripe durian fruit being sold by the segment. So we thought, let's give it a go. Smell like hell, taste like heaven. Let's go for it. Smell like hell, taste like shit, make you vomit. Absolutely awful. And the worst thing is that they also gave me the hiccups, and every time I hiccuped, I could taste it again, so I was sick again. I must have been sick about 30 times over the next 12 hours.
Oh my god!
And on the plane, 12 hours later on the plane, I'd have a cup of coffee and little.
So the take-home message there, children, is do not leave it till the day before you fly home before you try the exotic local food.
Yes.
However, there's a chance I may have had one that was off. So I'm going to try it again one of these days just to see.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan to me. Yeah, I did have a cucumber once.
Yeah, like why not? If you've like already puked 30 times, why not try it again?
Give it another go.
Let's move off food. I want to come back to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you what it is that you're doing? You're stuck in a medieval hilltop town in Italy, just north of Rome. What do you do with yourself? How do you tell us more?
Yeah, so actually before after I started the clinic, I decided to study behavior.
Okay.
Behavior medicine, because I had actually, when I was studying, and I didn't realize this until later, when I was studying, when I moved to Denmark originally to study veterinary medicine, I had a dog with me that was like the first dog that I ever had and trained myself.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And after like a few years, it became apparent that our dog had a behavioral problem, and she was aggressive towards children.
Oh.
Yeah, not a very good situation when we had a little boy ourselves, and she bit. Eventually, she bit one of his friends that was visiting, and we had to put her down. And that was really, it was very traumatic for me to, like, I was a vet student, I was a biologist, like I felt like a big failure not being able to train this dog in the proper way. And I had like taken classes and like did all the things, like read some books, and I did all the things I thought that you're supposed to do, like when you're training your dog. So I didn't, it was really difficult. And I became very interested in behavior medicine, and I started doing some research into like statistics, like I'm sure I'm not the only person. Like when I started doing the clinical rotations, I noticed that we were also dealing with the behavioral problems there. And I was looking at the statistics, and like more than 20% of dogs that are euthanized because of behavioral problems.
Wow.
Is that right? So 1 in 5.
Yeah. Yeah, so I became very interested, and I did this project in Iceland, and I discovered the statistics were the same in Iceland as the others that I had from the UK, from the US, from Denmark.
Wow.
It was more or less similar, and I thought like, wow, this is like a huge problem. And people need help. Also, like we didn't learn so much about behavior during the veterinary studies. So I started doing some research, and I eventually took a diploma degree, like my third degree in the UK. So I finished that program, and I like understood after all this studying why my dog had behaved the way she did, the mistakes that I had made, and I understood. So I became very interested in like teaching others, helping the people, our clients, to deal with this part of their dogs' lives. So I started doing behavioral consultations in the clinic. And you know, when you do a behavioral consultation, sometimes I was telling this to somebody this morning, a potential client, that people used to bring in their dogs to the clinic, but I wasn't doing anything with the dogs. Like I wasn't.
Yeah.
I would just talk to the clients, and the dog would just sit there, usually like sitting in the corner being scared.
Yeah.
But now I can talk to the clients online. So most of my clients are actually, all of my clients are not here in Italy.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I have clients like in Europe, in Iceland, in the US.
Gosh.
And we just do this. We have do Zoom consultations.
Right.
Sometimes they send me like videos and pictures. Like I had a case the other day where the dog was eating the wall.
Wow.
Of their house. Very interesting case.
Sure.
And so they sent me a video of him doing his thing. And the picture really funny where he was like sitting like he was really proud with the holes in the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a really interesting case. Yeah, so now I just do the consultations online. People send me pictures and videos of the dogs if needed. Sometimes the dogs like participate, like they're there, like when I do the consultations. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now.
So this is a worldwide digital business.
Yeah. So I can do it
So-
from my house here in Tofia. My town is called Tofia.
Right.
And so the advice you give is practical. Is it ever medical? Do you ever advise?
Yes, I do actually. Of course, like I'm not licensed to practice in only in Iceland and Denmark, so I can't prescribe the medicine. But I recommend often, and I usually have a good working relationship with their local vet. So the people, also my clients in Iceland, I'm not prescribing myself.
No.
I just write a note for their regular vet, and they prescribe the medicine so that they can keep tabs of like eventual, like if in case, which is very rare, but could happen that they have side effects or something like that, then it's better that they are in good contact with their local vet who supervises that.
I think you're absolutely right. You said earlier on that there's very little in the way of behaviour training at vet school, and there isn't. I don't know whether there is now, but certainly when I was at vet school, I don't think we had any behavioural training. Oh no, we did. We had 2 1-hour sessions on animal behaviour with someone who clearly had some sort of mental health problems of her own, and was unable to face us when she was lecturing. And so the lecture went like, you sometimes find, there's a slide here, and you sometimes find the dogs. It was very difficult to understand what she said. So it was quite bizarre. But that left me knowing very, very little about animal behaviour and dog behaviour in particular, to the extent that now I freely admit when clients come in and there is a behavioural problem, I say, look, I could give you advice, but it'll almost certainly be wrong. So there are experts, there are specialists, and I would strongly recommend that you get in touch with them. And here's a few. And I must get your details, so now I can say here is who I'd recommend.
Yeah, because it's actually behaviors. There's not that many veterinary behaviorists.
No.
So,
but there are lots of different qualifications, aren't there? And it's quite confusing.
Yeah, because like a behaviorist is not like a registered or how do you say?
Controlled or
controlled term. So like anyone can call themselves a behaviorist.
Yes.
So it's different qualifications. For example, like I have not completed like a board certification. It's something that I would like to do in the future, but it's not so easy to find such a program because they are few and far between. Yeah, so it is starting now. There are organizations where people can sign up, and when you have like qualifications, you can be admitted as a member.
Yeah. I guess it's worth labouring the point to people who are watching or listening in, that actually if your pet has a behavioural problem, don't just flick through the yellow pages. First of all, no one outside of England knows what they are. Secondly, even in England, they don't exist anymore. But don't just get onto the net and say, let's find an animal behaviourist, because there are good ones and bad ones. There are cranks, and you've got to get it right, because otherwise you will have a dog that bites someone and you have to put it to sleep at that stage. Whereas if you go to a proper behaviourist, there's a very good chance that you can sort that dog's problems out.
Yeah, there's a lot we can do, and also unfortunately there's so much nonsense out there as well. There's still so many outdated methods that are being promoted that have been proven to have like no scientific merit. A lot of it is based on like feelings or like some misconstrued old research on wolves, for example. So there's a lot of nonsense out there. But really, like veterinarians who are have like a special specialty in behavior, we're more like psychiatrists,
Yeah.
really, or psychologists. And it's like you have to consider more than just the behavior of the dogs, because now we understand dogs much more than we did. There's a lot of research. This is like a really expanding, rapidly expanding field of research. And so we're also considering like the emotional state of the dogs without like we don't have to anthropomorphize the dogs to understand that they also have feelings, not just behaviors.
Yeah, neuroses in dogs. Is it a thing? Can dogs get neuroses?
Yes, I mean, a lot of dogs suffer from anxiety and fear-related problems, and we have to, of course, be careful of not like projecting our own feelings and thoughts onto the dogs. And that's why we've always been so focused on behavior. But we know that dogs aren't just machines that behave in a certain way. They also have their own thoughts and their feelings. We can't describe them as accurately as we can with human patients, because we can't ask them like directly, but we can extrapolate some. And there's been a lot of really, really interesting research on like the intelligence of dogs, like what they understand and what they don't understand, and things like that. So it's really, really fascinating field.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself in these situations working as much with the I'm trying to think of a nice PC expression here, the pet parent, the owner, as much as the animal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is
Like
a holistic team thing where you're working with the
absolutely, because
the animal.
My clients are humans. Like they're not my clients aren't dogs. The patient is a dog, but the client is a person. And that's also why the first module of my behavior studies was human psychology.
Right.
We did like a whole module on human psychology. We read the book that psychologists read.
Right.
Because it's really important to be able to relate to the owners.
Right. So
And this field is really about like I'm doing. I'm training the people.
Yeah.
And the people are training their dogs.
Where do you get your referrals from, Sif?
Online mostly.
Okay.
So through Facebook, like social media, also word of mouth as well.
Right.
So how can I or viewers or listeners, how can I refer my patients to you, and how can people get help from you?
So people can just contact me through my website,
which is
sifthevet.com.
Sif the Vet. SIF thevet.com.
Yeah. And I have like the same handle on all the social media as all Sif the Vet.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I just remembered a joke I heard many years ago, which is the difference between a neurotic, a psychotic, and a psychologist. Have you heard of this?
No, let's hear it.
So a neurotic builds castles in the air. A psychotic lives in castles in the air. And a psychologist collects the rent from both.
That's really
excellent.
Let me tell you about the hedgehog.
Tell us about the hedgehog.
A
hedgehog in the village on top of the mountain.
I saw this hedgehog. Like I don't know if I remembered. Oh, this is the picture I have in the background.
Yep, that's beautiful.
The hedgehog. I just saw him outside, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, because in Iceland we don't have any hedgehogs,
right?
Or we don't have so much wild mammals in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really excited to see the hedgehog, and then he just scuttled off, and I didn't think more of it. And then a couple of months later, I heard a really loud noise in my bathroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was like 3 a.m. and I thought, that's a chewing sound. Somebody's eating the cat food, but it's not a cat, because I can definitely hear. And I was like, well, people who like are probably most of the people listening to this or watching are pet people.
Yeah.
And you just know, like, I recognize the chewing of my cats. Like, that's just the way it is.
Mm.
And or the dogs. I was like, it's not my cat. So I turned on the light and I was like, maybe there's like some other cat or something. And it turned out it was the hedgehog.
Oh.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so he'd come all the way into the bathroom, and all the the cats and the dogs were all like looking at, like, why is this animal here eating our food? But they are all very friendly, so they didn't do much. Sunna tried to play with him, but that didn't go so well. And then he just left, and I came back every night, and I was. He started like waking me up every night, so I was like, no, this is not so good. So I moved a bowl of cat food next to the door, so he could just like come in and like eat the cat food and then leave again, so he wouldn't have to go all the way into the bathroom. And then of course in the fall he's probably gone into hibernation now because he's not coming anymore. So I'm waiting for the spring to see if I'll have my hedgehog friend visit again.
That's lovely.
So here's the wisteria again.
Yeah, there's a language barrier, obviously, isn't there, between your dog and the hedgehog?
Yes. So apparently the hedgehog didn't really get what the game was about.
Right, fair enough.
So this is me taking over as president of the Rotary Club Rome International.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, say that again. You're the president of the
Rotary Club Rome International.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Since June. So that's me taking over from our past president.
Amazing.
These are my dogs.
Oh, look at them.
Yeah, the co-drivers.
Beautiful.
So Sunna, the small one, is a Havanese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Odin, the bigger one, he's actually not so big. He's 7 kilos.
Odin, of course, I should say to people who are listening rather than watching, Odin naturally has just one eye.
Yes. So hence, that's where he got his name from. So I adopted him. He came. I'd seen him around the village for a few months, just running around the village. And I didn't think much of it because here in Italy, it's very common for people to just let their dogs roam around. He was like, he's like this Italian street dog. And I actually adopted him when he had an accident and lost his eye. Mm-hmm. And we searched, me and my Welsh neighbor, searched everywhere for the owners of this dog and couldn't find them. So we took him to the official vets. And here in Italy, they have an emergency, free emergency services for animals as well as humans. So I was like, oh, fine, okay, I'll take him. And then the vet asked, like, oh, so what's his name? And I was like, well, I don't know. We just picked him up from the street. So my friend said, well, you should call him Odin because now he's only going to have one eye, and also it's like a tribute to your Scandinavian heritage. So and I was like, yes, that's a good idea.
So
now I have Odin, the one-eyed dog, but he's very Italian. He only likes to eat pizza and pasta. And he loves eating spaghetti. He eats spaghetti like an Italian person. Like he likes, he sucks it up into his mouth like a person eating spaghetti. It's really, really funny.
Brilliant. He looks a real sweetie.
We're just a tiny bit jealous, just a little.
Did I mention it's still raining outside?
Yeah, it's still raining here.
Well,
too.
I have to admit that it did rain here this morning as well.
Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Oh.
Yeah, and the temperature was only 19 degrees.
Oh my word! How did you cope? You must have had
Kelvin?
I had to bring out all my winter clothes, my scarf and everything. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's
Oh
really
dear,
bad.
oh dear, Sif.
So 19 degrees Fahrenheit. That's awful. That's really,
Yeah,
really cold.
yeah,
Like,
Terrible.
yes. Of
yeah.
course. I want to hear more about this Rotary thing that you've got involved in, Sif. You and you
Yeah.
you've moved to Italy and you've just thrown yourself into local life, haven't you?
Yeah, so that's well, when you move to a foreign country by yourself with only a small dog,
Hmm.
then sometimes you need the human companionship.
Yeah.
And so I was involved actually with Rotary in Iceland before I left. So I've been a Rotarian for 7 years now.
Right.
And the Rotary Club is really it's an organization that does charitable work. Like that's the main purpose of the club. So
Hmm.
people coming together and as a community and doing charitable work. So I'm very excited about the project that we're doing right now. My club has we got a district grant, so we got a grant from the district. We raised money, and the district of Lazio and Sardinia gave us also a grant to finalize this project, and we are sponsoring 50 girls in Uganda to go to school. So we're paying their school fees and their meals.
Hmm.
Wow.
So these are girls that we have a lady from Uganda who's on the board of our club,
Right.
in our club. So we are partnering with a local Rotary club in Gulu in Uganda,
Right.
and also with an organization that has made it possible for us to find the girls so we are sponsoring them directly.
Right. That's fabulous.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, so we're really proud of this project, and it's very nice to be able to give back.
I spent some time in Africa a few years ago, and one of the things that struck me particularly about the schooling in the areas that I was in was that schooling was available,
Mm-hmm.
but you had to have school uniform to go to the school.
Yeah.
A good old colonial bureaucratic throwback.
Mm-hmm.
Come to our school, but you have to pay for the uniform.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the uniform, you can't come to the school.
Yeah.
Quite what the uniform has to do with learning and teaching, I struggle with. But so, are there any restrictions like that in Uganda for these particular?
I think they actually, some of the schools do have school uniforms,
Right.
and it could also, well, it kind of depends on the circumstances, but it can also, uniforms can also be as a way of like making, like having all the students at the same level, so they don't have like different like some students might have like much more expensive clothes than others. So
For sure.
that's
An
one of
equalizer,
the
isn't it?
like the benefits of school uniforms. But also, but like you said, it doesn't make any sense to restrict access to school based on uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are girls that have been like hand selected, and they're girls who are like, they're good students, but they can't afford the school fees,
Right.
and their families can't afford to pay for them. And sadly, the situation in many of these countries is that if a family has like they have more children, and then they will send the boys to school and not the girls.
Yeah.
So the boys are more likely to be sponsored by their families to go to school than the girls.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we decided to sponsor girls.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
They are more it's more difficult for them.
Yeah. No,
Our,
I think that's
our,
admirable.
our local schools, I'm chair of governors at our primary school, and we're twinned with a school in Wahia in Kenya. And we often get videos of their daily lives out there. And the one thing that strikes me is the children are so eager to go to school. So there's a very different ethic there.
Yeah.
Children here, even my own girls, often sort of begrudgingly go to school. I don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
But they're so eager and happy and grateful to be given the chance to be educated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's something that I think our affluent society all too easily loses.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is
That's-
very important.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic, Sif.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I think
Brilliant.
it's fabulous. Yeah, absolutely. Sif, did we cover 60-second CPD with you?
No, and I've been thinking about this like all day, and I actually wasn't like sure what I wanted to do with this segment.
Okay. Did you come to a conclusion?
Not really, no.
So should we put you really on the spot and say 60 seconds and you get the prize?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So
All right, let's try it.
let's try it. Let's see how you go. Let's start the clock.
Okay, so I would say to clinicians who are thinking about no, you have to start again. Like, cut.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I need like I should have
Have a
made
sip.
like
Have a sip of limoncello. Take a
Have a
Okay.
sip of limoncello. I'll
Go for it.
yeah, there we go.
I'll have a drink as well. There we go.
Cheers. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 60 seconds on barking.
Okay.
Let's do 60 seconds on barking. Sif, the clock is ticking.
All right, so the number one complaint of behavioral issues of dog owners is barking. So that's like I've done several surveys, and I always end up with the same number. It's more than half of the people that are worried about their dog's behavior. The problem is barking. So barking can be caused by a number of things. It's of course normal communication of dogs, but it can also very often be a sign of anxiety and fear. So the dog that's barking hysterically at the gate, or people coming in, or when you're out walking, is very often with an underlying anxiety problem. And anxiety problems can eventually lead to the dog becoming aggressive and biting someone and having to be put down, which is a very big problem. And 20% of euthanasias of dogs are caused by behavioral problems.
There we go.
There we go. Fantastic.
And that, of course, is something that you, as Sif the Vet, can help with.
Yes. Also, like I was thinking, like how does a clinician know if the dog needs a trip to the behaviorists?
Yep. So how would
you know?
do they?
Well, of course, like I think we all know, like when we have this dog patient, and if this was a child in your family, you would like suggest to the parent to call get what's it called?
Advice from a vet?
A therapist.
A therapist, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the same would
Yeah,
apply.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
As simple as that.
yeah.
But it's an important point you made, that actually barking is a nuisance if they bark too much, but actually it could progress, couldn't it, to them becoming violent and vicious and biting. And so
Yeah, because often the barking is a sign of an underlying issue. The barking is just the symptom, but it's not the diagnosis. So I was, in the beginning, I was going about it a little bit in the wrong way, because I was trying to start with the diagnosis. But the dog owners don't come to me or to vets in general with a diagnosis. They come with the symptoms, and then it's our job to find out what the diagnosis is. So you always have to start with the symptoms. So that's what people want help with. They want to solve this symptom, to relieve the symptom, but they need help to solve the underlying problem.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the key to all of your studies over the years, and what it is
Yeah, and that's
now giving back.
Exactly.
You're now giving back that information and that knowledge and those skills to the clients that need it to help with their dogs, and in particular,
Yeah.
the ones that are continually barking. That's fabulous, Sif.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous.
It's amazing. Amazing.
Julian, have you got a joke for this evening?
Well, I have, and I don't know, Sif. I must apologise for this in advance. I don't know whether Mike's told you that the general format of this is I ruin the mood of the evening by telling an absolutely rubbish joke.
Oh, hang on a minute. That's a revelation. let's go back to that, listeners. Did you notice that Julian admitted his jokes were not as good as they could be?
Well, of course.
Carry on, Julian. Don't be so hard on yourself. I've had messages saying that your joke the other night was very good.
I know. Thank you. I sent that message.
Oh, right.
I always try and tie the joke in with the guest, and it's a bit difficult because I did a joke about Thor a couple of seasons ago, so I didn't have another joke about Thor.
But you don't have a joke about Odin.
I couldn't think of a joke about Odin other than the obvious ones about his eye, but I did find out that Iceland has a huge number of golf courses, and apparently people come from all over the world to use the Icelandic golf courses. Now, I'm not a golfer, and I'm a bit along the lines of Oscar Wilde in that I see golf as a good walk ruined. So I have absolutely no concerns about deriding golf. I'm not going to, though, in this joke. This is just the story of the chap who was a really good golfer, and he'd play occasional games with people at the drop of a hat. So someone would say, "Look, I'm short of a partner tomorrow. Could you make it?" And he'd say, "Yeah, I'll come along. What time do you want to start?" 8:30. 8:30. Okay, it might be a bit late, but I'll pop along 8:30, right? And he'd turn up at 8:30, and he'd play the best game right-handed ever. Absolutely amazing. And he'd beat the opponent hands down. And then, a few days later, someone would say, can you play a game with me tomorrow? My partner's let me down. Yeah, well, 8:30? Yeah, I might be a bit late. 8:30, I might be a bit late. I'll turn up when I can. At 8:30 on the dot, he's there, and he plays this amazing game left-handed, beats some hands down. And this goes on. Some days he's playing left-handed, some days he's playing right-handed. Every day he says, I might be a bit late, but he's always there on time. And word of this gets around, and one of his friends says to him, what's this all about? You play left-handed, you play right-handed, you're brilliant both ways. And you go on about this, I might be late, and you turn up on time. He says, why is that? He says, well, I'll tell you why. He says, I see every morning how my wife is lying in bed. And if she's lying on her left side, I'll play left-handed that day. If she's lying on her right side, I'll play right-handed that day. And I said, well, what happens if she's lying on her back? He said, well, then I might be a bit late, mightn't I?
Oh, Julian. And so you don't know the joke about how do you spell Odin? With one eye.
I could do an abbreviated poem about Thor along the lines of the joke I told a few seasons back, which is, the god of war rode out one day upon a snow-white filly. I'm Thor, he cried. His horse replied, you forgot your saddle, filly.
So there you go. There's two.
You also tell like veterinary jokes on this, like animal jokes. I have a joke.
Yes.
Go on, then. Go on.
I don't know, like maybe you've heard it before, but let's try it. Like if you've heard it before or it's been told before, you can just cut it.
We wait.
Go for it.
All right. So there was this vet, and he was doing after hours emergency calls. And a man came rushing in through the door with his dog in his arms, and put the dog on the table. Said like, "Oh my God, you have to help me! Like my dog was hit by a car." And the vet looked at the dog and like took it out the stethoscope, did like a thorough clinical exam. And then he said, I'm really sorry, sir, but I have to tell you that your dog has died. He's no longer with us. And the man was very distraught, and he was like, no, I can't believe it. I don't believe it. Like, I want a second opinion. Of course, sir. I can. I will go and call my colleague, and we'll give you a second opinion. And then he opened the door, and he went out back, and then he came back with this big dog. And the dog sniffed around, and then he sat down and barked and said, "Woof." Yes, I'm really sorry, sir, but my colleague agrees with my diagnosis. I'm very sorry, but your dog has died. No, it can't be true. This is just a dog. Like, he doesn't know anything. Like, I want another opinion. I want the third opinion. All right, this is the last one, but I can get you a third opinion. It's no problem. Of course, sir, whatever you want. And so he took out the dog, and then he came back with a cat. So the cat sniffed around a little bit, like, and then he sat down on the table and said, meow. And the vet said, like, I'm really, really sorry, but my other colleague also agrees that unfortunately your dog has died. So there's nothing more we can do for him. I'm very sorry for your loss. And the man said, oh, all right then. It must be true then, since the three of you agree. It must be true then. So how much do I owe you? Yeah, that'll be 550 pounds. 550? You said 50 for the emergency exam. Yeah, but that was before the lab results and the CAT scan.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Do you know, it's something somewhat remarkable to have a true polyglot on the show, and it really takes something to tell a joke in a foreign language.
Mm.
That's when you know that you're fluent.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I can tell jokes in Danish too, but I don't know how many Danish viewers we have.
Your joke remind me a bit about the chap who again brought his very, very overweight dog into the practice and said to the vet, could you have a look at him, please? And the vet sort of bent down and had a look. He said, well, there's a problem underneath his belly. You might need to lift him up to have a look at him. So the vet lifted him up to put him on the table. And as he was lifting him up, the guy was telling him about all the problems the dog had over the last few months. And the vet said, look, I'm terribly sorry, I'm going to have to put your dog down. I got it. Is it that ill? He said, no, you won't stop talking, it's too bloody heavy. Right, now what's going on?
On that note.
On that bombshell.
On that note, could I please say thank you very, very much, Sif the Vet, for spending your time with us this evening and sharing your fabulous story of your journey from biology student to animal behaviourist of the world, live on the internet, living in Italy. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and I've really enjoyed it.
Me too. Yeah. Thank you, Sif. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And if you have enjoyed what you've heard this evening, please click like, follow, subscribe on Facebook, on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, all the various forums, but share it to your friends. If you've enjoyed it, you might know somebody enjoys it as well. We've certainly enjoyed our time, particularly this evening. So, Sif, thank you.
Oh,
thank you so much for having me on the show.
No. We've learned.
We haven't done the CPD.
Oh, we haven't done the CPD.
Oh, no.
This is amazing. 1 minute of CPD.
Absolutely.
Which, and I think Sif's going to have to read out the CPD certificate because I wrote it in Icelandic.
Skírteini af frekari menntun, þetta vottar það að þú hafir Well, now I can't. It's too dark to read. Að þú hafir veitt rambaranum okkar. This is really funny.
Which I think says everything. So it's a certificate of continued education, learning, and it says which is
Skírteini af frekari menntun.
yes, so certificate of
Definitely Google translated.
it was Google translated, yeah. But essentially, it's saying thank you for watching tonight. We had some awesome CPD, and there's a little story as ever behind the pictures. So now there's a wolf, which is the only other name Sif that I could come up with. So Sif is the name of this wolf, and Sif is a character in oh gosh, what is it? The Dark Souls, which is a fantasy film. He's a great grey wolf who is the companion of Sir Artorius, who is the Abyss Walker. There we go. Obviously, there's ice there, there's snow there, and there's reading for climbing. And there's Mjolnir, is that right?
Mjolnir.
Which is Thor's hammer.
Yes.
So
Because Sif was a goddess, and she was the wife of Thor.
she was.
Not his sister, like they said in the Marvel movie. So Americans watching this, forget about Marvel. Sif was the wife of Thor, not his sister.
That's right. And it's not clear whether she also had powers. She was immortal, wasn't she? She was a goddess.
She was a goddess, yes.
But I couldn't get from any of my readings whether she had powers. And obviously Thor had his immense strength with his friendship with Mjolnir, the hammer. But was Sif able to do anything? I mean, presumably she was able to tell when he came in drunk.
Yes. Sif was the wife of the Homeland family and the harvest. So that's, I guess that was, making limoncello.
Absolutely, and you certainly
Superpowers.
brought in a big harvest of information for us this evening.
Yes.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It was really great.
That's fabulous. So we normally sign off by raising a glass and wishing everybody, may your dog go with you.
May your dog go with you.
May your dog go with you.
Cheers. Thank you so much, Sif. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. This was really great.
Yeah?
We have a really long episode. Like, are you going to cut it down to 3:05?
It cuts down to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally your part, because him and I are just idiots, so...
No one wants to see or hear us.